Hey guys, today I'm recording a different type of video. I'm going to be recording like a commentary over our Junkyard 24 that we done quite a while ago. I'm pretty much going to be talking about what we do, what pulls we do, what we should have done differently, and pretty much giving you some sort of insight on what our group does on like these type of keys. So hopefully it can help you in your keys. So initially we've spoken about how to go about the dungeon. We decided to go towards Gunker so that each member was able to get 3 bots. They were able to get Haste, Shock bot, and the Reinforced bot, which gives you like a damage reduction. So you take less damage and gives you more HP. So as you can see, I'm going down into this tunnel. I'm able to do this because I have blind to blind one of the re-anomalized slimes, I think they're called, and I also have evasion, and I'm going to use a pot and a health stone here just to make sure I live, as well as I can vanish off the 2 mobs. This is something that like a rogue can do, a mage might be able to do, and a hunter can do. If you're in any of this class, I wouldn't attempt this. In this pack you can see that we have one mob marked star. This star mob, our mage can spell steal the buff called Enlarge. It gives him a damage buff. The tooltip says 100% damage, but we're not too sure if it actually gives a 100% damage increase to the players as well. This comes more into play later in the dungeon than this pack, but it really does help on the first pull that we pop last, as well as cooldowns. So as you can see, because I came late to this pack, I thought there was no point in popping my cooldowns. So we were discussing here that I should get dispel priority from our monk. He can dispel diseases, so that I can put my cooldowns and really go hard on this mob. As you can see, I used all my cooldowns, but unfortunately I die. We died because the one mob from last pack was still alive. It does like swirlies on the floor that were unseeable, and I wasn't really able to move out the model. I wasn't able to see it through the model. So here my thinking is, okay, I've lost my haste bot and I've lost my shock bot, which gives me zap damage. There's one zap bot that we don't normally go for. If I'm able to take this one zap bot that we don't normally go for, that means I won't be taking the healers or the tanks zap bot. So I'm gonna run here and get it. As I'm playing Expedient and I'm playing Assassination Rogue instead of Outlaw Rogue, the zap bot is going to do my top or my second top damage. It's going to do around the same amount of damage as my Empowered Garrote is doing. So that's why it's very important for me to be able to get the bot before I get back to the group. As you can see, they didn't pull anything else. They just finished off the one mob. So I didn't miss too much. So that's fine. From each pull, we mark targets. So marking each target means we have like an auto marker add-on for auto marker or weak aura. So this means that we're able to assign each member of the group, either pre-assigned or during the pull we can say, DH, you take this kick, like DH, you take star, then Rogue, you take star, etc. Which really helps out on the course and make sure that we don't overlap kicks. Again, most of the time I will be getting the dispels in the in these big monstrosities, because I'll be doing more damage than the DH would otherwise do. So we'll just be playing these packs, pack by pack, 3 or 4 mobs at a time. Because of Sanguine, we don't want anything to heal up too much, as well as getting bots. What I'll do now is I'll fast forward to the boss, and you'll see the clips with a little bit of music behind them. So now the mage has channeled. I went to get food buff, but I wasn't able to actually finish food buff, which is unfortunate, but I shouldn't be trying to get food buff mid-dungeon anyway. And you can see that we're just gonna open like usual. What I tend to do on this boss is I try not to group up with everyone else, just in case the melee slime bot does get gooped. And if it gets gooped, that means like all the melee would get gooped. Normally the healer plays in this one and the DH and the tank. So I try to play outside. As a rogue, I am able to shroud off all the goops that come out with the toxic wave. And if you're able to see I think it's called consume. If you're able to see behind you on the consume and you see that there's no goop behind you, then that means you won't actually get goops or get into the slime debuff or anything. So as long as you're looking at space, you don't really need to play within the bots. But that's something that I just do to give everyone else more room. Here you can see one person got gooped and I didn't get gooped as well, which was like very, very nice, just because I wasn't playing with the team. Now we'll be moving on to the pillar after this boss. I think the first pillar is the Fear pillar. I don't know his name. We just call him the Fear pillar or Fear obelisk. And in the Fear obelisk, what you're going to see me do is just open with all my cooldowns or use my cooldowns as soon as they're up on the main target. As an assassination rogue, I don't really have as much AoEs like an outlaw rogue could bring it in this part of the dungeon, in this obelisk, but I'm able to pump a lot of single target damage in, which means as soon as we're getting to our destination where we want to drop the pillar, we'll be able to drop it as soon as, and we won't have anyone accidentally throwing each other. One other thing, you'll see everyone basically moves out. We have a priority system on who's getting dispelled. If the mage is in combustion window, then the mage will get dispelled. Otherwise it'd be the tank, then it would be me, then it would be the DH. Fortunately as a rogue, we do have cloak of shadows, which means I can just cloak the debuff off. This is really nice because it gives us one less debuff to worry about. One less person needs to get dispelled, or one less person needs to take the AoE damage or anything. The next pack we're going to is the bulk pack. The bulk pack, basically they do a frontal, which is like an AoE type frontal. But the frontal basically reduces your amount of haste. Nobody really wants to get a reduced amount of haste. So what we're going to do is we're gonna get the monk to leg sweep the first set, and then we're going to get the demon hunter to chaos nova the second set, so nobody actually needs to worry about where it's going. These blasters also just attack random targets, so the priority should be to get the blasters down, as we don't really need to worry about the bulk cost as much. We also would have kidney, we'd also have paralyze, we'd also have single target demon hunter stun to deal with that. So the pulls here are fairly standard. In this pack we should be focusing the blasters, but as these 3 mobs were stacked, we thought we'll just get the 3 mobs we're trying to cleave down the blasters. As you can see, there's that overpower or overwhelm buff that orange mark just put out. The mage is actually able to steal the debuff that it puts on all the other mobs and get a haste buff. So we try to let that buff go through so that the mage is able to get a haste buff. As you can see, because we didn't focus the blasters, one blaster decided to jump into the sanguine, which means it healed up about half of its HP. So half that damage didn't really matter. So we should have had a lot better targeting, like focus on these mobs over the other 2-3 mobs that were there. But hey, minor mistakes happens in every dungeon, right? So now we're gonna go onto what we thought was a standard pull, pulling the crawler with the other thing, but here we stack, and I think we're going to end up wiping here, and then this causes us to change up our route on the fly. We shouldn't have actually wiped it. This was our first time doing a 24 fortified with a crawler. We didn't know it had done this much damage, and hindsight and moving forward, we wouldn't be playing this pack again. But right here, you can see the pack survives on 4% HP. We've lost like so much damage. The whole party's lost their buffs, so we have to change up our route to accommodate this. This was a very costly mistake for us, a mistake that we otherwise shouldn't have made. So now what we're going to do is try and look for everyone to get their buffs. I'm just shrouding everyone through here so that they don't like, you can get past these mobs without, but it's just shrouding for safety. We don't really need shroud anywhere else in this dungeon. So as you can see here, the DH tried to get the 1 zap bot. He wasn't able to get it, or maybe he got it, but mistakes. I pick up a zap bot here, and we're going to pull this middle pack so that we can get another 2 bots behind. I believe I'm going to get the haste / grease bot, and the tank is going to take the reinforced bot / defense bot. This is because I'm using so much expedient. Getting the extra haste percentage onto me makes the most sense, as the Demon Hunter is already swapped to versatile at this point, I believe. Mage is playing mastery gear, so we thought for the group this would be the best combination of this would be the best type of like way moving forward with like the situation that we're in. So as we needed more bots, we decided to pull the 1 crawler on top as well. We thought, as it's just a crawler, as well as well, it's a crawler without the 1 extra mob. As you can see here, I dropped really low. I should have really cloaked here. Now I've lost 2 bots I've lost a zap bot and another grease bot for no reason. Which is really unfortunate. Misplay on my part, misplay on the group's part. Not really the group, mainly my part. I should have used my defensives more. But yeah, we'll get through this pack. I'm going to look for some bots. Maybe. I see there's 1 bot over here by the trees. What I'm going to do now is wait for the patrol to move away, so they make the basically run away, and I'm going to go and pick up the bot because they won't see me, and if they do see me, I have vanish up anyway, so I'm able to run away and vanish. So I'm able to at least get a zap bot. I'm not in the worst, like as bad of a position as I could have otherwise been. Here I really should have eaten that verse food, because I don't think I'm going to get an opportunity to eat for 10 seconds. So we're going to try this pull. But what we're going to do different is we're going to pop Lust. We're going to make sure we don't overlap the frontal that the crawler does. And we're just going to basically pop everything into the crawler. In future, I don't think we will be playing this. But yeah. As you can see, what I try to do is every time the AoE goes out from the crawler, I try to feint it so that at least I'm taking some AoE damage less. I'm obviously taking more damage because unfortunate eyes, and yeah. So we're just gonna clear out these 2 last packs just so that we're able to get one more Zap bot. It's probably going to be for the Demon Hunter or for the Mage. We're also able to get the 1 reinforced bot from the crawler that we just got. Everyone's kind of got a good amount of bots, maybe not, we're not too sure. But yeah, I'll fast forward it to the boss now, and we'll just go over the boss. So Mage is channeled. As Mage is channeled, we decide to go. The Mage channel is more important than majority of things here. So getting the Mage's combust out is pretty important. We're basically gonna go put as much damage into Trixie at the start as we can, while having a kick rotation. Making sure as the least amount of damage that she can put out is pretty important, because that means that your healer isn't able, like, the healer doesn't have to heal every single cast. As you can see for the Mega Tase, I'm actually able to cloak it off. You can also vanish it off. You can block it as a mage. You can basically use any immune or any invisibility that you want. Like, you could use shadow mode as an alliance player, for example. Yeah, the fight's pretty standard. I don't think anyone dies here, which is pretty nice. Excuse me. And I will fast forward to the next pack here. So as the boss is dead, we basically run out to this 1 malfunctioning bot. We don't feel like playing multiple bots is really worth it, because the exhaust means the range can't hit the malfunctioning bot or even the other bots, and the gyro spinny thing means that, like, the melee can't hit. Like, the melee have to play at absolute max distance, and if it ever switches directions, then it will basically one-shot you, and we didn't think that was something that's really worth playing 3 bots for, so we just decided to play the one that we have to play, with lots of these little grunts that just fixate random people. So in this next pool, I'm in charge of Star. The reason that I'm in charge of Star as a rogue in this group composition is I have lots of ways to deal with its cast. I have Kick, I have Kidney, I have Blind, I have my initial Garrotes that silence from stealth. I use Vanish on this one so that I can do this. And then after this, me and the Mage are going to go behind this pack and pick up 2 haste spots. We decided that as a group, it's probably better for me and the Mage to get the haste spots over the other 2, because of the damage output that we'll be able to do compared to the Demon Hunter, compared to the tank or the healer. But yeah, we go for the next pack with the big bully, sorry. So the bully only has 1 real attack, and he does a shockwave in front of him. I don't think he has an enrage, but if he does have an enrage, then we get the Demon Hunter to kick it. But we basically focus the bully, and then after focusing the bully, we basically just cleave down all the little ads. Fortunately, the little ads don't actually drop Sanguine. Now going into the breaker of heroes, or the tank buster, or the tank breaker, whatever you really want to call it. We basically just pull him past this one pack and this one patrol that we wanted to skip for percentage reasons. Turns out I think we overpulled in this dungeon, the over percented, but it's fine, it happens. There's not really too much to say about this guy. He basically just puts a debuff on your tank, increase the amount of damage that they take by a percentage. I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but you really don't want to take the slam as anyone this high. You can take it with cloak, but there's more important things to use cloak on than reducing this damage and putting your cloak on a 2-minute CD. But once we come out, what we're going to do is we're going to pull one malfunctioning robot with 2 trash masters and I believe 1 other mob. So I'm gonna basically try and focus the malfunctioning bot as soon as it comes in. I'm gonna grow everything in my vicinity and then switch to it. The reason I think this is the most I think this is the most annoying mob in the pack, apart from the trash masters that randomly throw they just randomly attack people and put swirlies on the floor. In this area the swirlies can clip, so you have to take extra precaution to make sure that you don't get them. Here I was wondering if I go and get the bot. I decided not to and stay with the group and basically just kill the mobs with them. I don't think I get them afterwards because I think with the time constraint we have, it wouldn't be worth us wasting like 5-10 seconds me going to get one bot that is for defense when I've already wasted so many this dungeon. These 2 mobs we have assigned to Demon Hunter for Fury gain, and we have assigned to our tank so that the tank is able to gain more from his conflict and strife than anyone else is in the group. Now we just do the boss. The main part about this boss is soaking the AoE with the tank and going to your assigned pillar. So everyone has an assigned pillar, and I was assigned the robot that spins around. So what I'm going to try and do here at all times is when the soak comes out, I'm basically going to position myself in a way, as you can see, that I go closer to the bot instead of just being pushed anywhere. So I'm being very conscious in where I'm positioning. As you can see, I'm saving my blood of the enemy. I'm basically trying to save my blood of the enemy for my cooldowns so they can line up a lot better. So I think here I'll be using all my cooldowns as well as blood just to do as much damage. If I don't use blood, I think I mistimed my cooldowns and I didn't see Exsanguinate was still on cooldown, so again, an area that I can improve on. But the rest of this boss goes fairly well. I'll just skip now to where we go back into the middle area to the last pillar and the last sets of packs that we're playing. So what you can see here is everyone decides to go inside the pillar. The reason we decide to go inside this pillar is we've skipped so many packs that we don't actually want to play them afterwards. So we're going to go back inside of the Nyalotha realm so that we could basically do a skip again. You'll see us just run in the little skip, little fast forward. You'll see us run to the next area where the last pillar is. So coming up to this pack, we decided to do it in 2 pulls. This is a pack that we normally play, but what we didn't think is that we had enough percentage. So we ended up playing too much percentage here, which is kind of bad because we could have saved a lot more time. We could have saved like 20-30 seconds that we spent on trash that we didn't really need. But we normally play this percentage, so we decided to play it anyway. We weren't too sure on how much extra we played with the crawlers and everything else extra that we had to play to clear 2 bots. So we decided to play everything here just in case. And now we go into the pillar, and what you see is we drop behind this platform. The reason that we drop behind this platform is to make sure all of the eyes are basically grouped. This is really good for Combust. This is really good for Demon Hunter Beam. It's really good for Eye Beam. So you want everything to be basically grouped. I decide, as Combust is already spread on them and the Demon Hunter is on them, that I should just stay on the main lieutenant or obelisk or pillar boss. I don't know what to call it. Here the DPS, the other 2 DPS call for backup on the last 2, but they end up healing up on the Sanguine. Unfortunately, as they're healing up, they both target the mage and he basically dies because he had all 4 targeted at the start. Unfortunate. Another thing that just happens. So I decided not to pop cooldowns because the mage has to get back before the next pack. We end up playing one more pack, although we're almost at 100%. The next pack plays an important part into how we play the last boss. So what you're going to see me do is on the Renormalizer, I have a blue nameplate for this mob. He gets blinded so that we're able to pull the rest of this pack without pulling him. The reason we want to do this is what I spoke about earlier in the dungeon. The one ability that he has, I think, is enlarge, shrink and enlarge. So the enlarge means that the mage will be doing even more damage in his combust. So we make sure that he can combust and bring as much damage as possible into the 1 phase that we need to pretty much time this key. If we're not able to 1 phase next boss, we thought that the key would pretty much be over. So here you're just seeing us finish off the end of this pack, and unfortunately this mob gets a few ticks of Sanguine off, which is unlucky. You should have thought about this, try to ring the rest of the mobs away or knock them or something. But now what you'll see is I'll go in stealth, so I am actually able to get a pre-pot off. And now the mage is going to spell steal the buff, and then soon what you're going to see is the mob get rooted. As the mob gets rooted, it's gonna put enlarge, it's gonna get spell stolen, and the mage is polying the mob so that it's not able to cast again. So now that it's polyed, mage has enlarge, he's able to do really big damage, and we're able to save this buff for later in the fight. As you can see, his damage is really big because of this. So the reason we're able to play Spider, this boss doesn't really do anything aside from the debuff that you saw me cloak off just a moment ago. So we're able to kick all of the Spider's casts, and that means the Spider doesn't really do anything either. So it's really nice to just be able to kill the Spider really fast, and then all the cleave damage from Ignite, as well as Demon Hunter, as well as like my Crimson Tempest and my Rob Sugar goes onto this mob as well. So now you'll see us very standardly run up to the top. I didn't have cloak, so I wasn't really able to cheese it this time. You can like use immunities and run up, like bubble and cloak. I'm not sure what else you can use. but mages have also told me that you can just teleport through if you teleport the right times. It's just going to be a lot of trial and error. But yeah, I'm just going to slowly make my way up channel. What you're also going to see is when the channel gets down to about 10%, I'll stop and I'll walk into an alarm bot to make sure that I go down early. The reason we want to go down early is to maximize what the actual bot, like the boss, comes down from the air, so that all DPS are able to just instantly do damage. But one thing I'd like to point out is when you are actually channeling the Ray thing towards the thing, you are still able to cast. So healers can still heal, you can cast Feign, you can cast immunities. So here you see the mage break it out, or the DH break it out. We steal the enlarged right now, and we're telling the tank to go, 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 so that we can do damage. And we're basically just gonna fully try and one phase this boss. We only have 30 seconds. Boss has to die within the 30 seconds. If he doesn't die within the 30 seconds, then the key is depleted. Fortunately for us, we have around 15 seconds left. Key is done. So the main thing that I wanted to touch on in this key is, although we wiped a lot of times in this key, it didn't mean the key was over for us. It just meant that we weren't 100% sure if the key was over or not, so we kept persisting. So although a key might look dire in one of your keys, just keep trying persistent, like maybe with changing up your route or being able to pump some more damage, you might gain, you might still time the key. You never know what could happen. But thanks for joining. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this. Is there anything I can improve on? And thank you very much. See you in the next one. We've been getting closer.